Guys, welcome. John Maggio here, Hawk Marketing Services. Today I want to talk to you about turning your website into a sales funnel, making sure you have the right things on your website in the right places for the highest chance of you achieving some of your goals. Now, what would be a goal is a conversion, meaning a phone call, somebody signing up, somebody filling out a form, and in some cases, making a purchase. Well, obviously it all starts with traffic, and the more you put in the top, the better results you get at the bottom. When Michelle and I worked at New Balance several years ago, we sold shoes online. We sold shoes for people who had foot problems. You see, we were competing with Nike, Reebok, and Adidas directly online, and the only niche that we could find a lot of success in was foot problems. So we'd write a lot of articles about foot problems, and when people went to the doctors, they'd come home and they'd search for plantar fasciitis shoes or metatarsalgia. I know them all, guys. Morton's neuroma. So that's the way that we got a lot of traffic to our website, and we sold a lot of shoes. We were doing about $550,000 online a year in New Balance Annapolis, in the Annapolis Mall. At the time, our conversion rate was 1.5%, meaning out of everybody who went to our website, 100 people went, and we were able to sell 1.5 pairs of shoes, or 1.5 customers. So at $500,000 at a conversion rate of 1.5%, you could easily see why we wanted to get to 2%, right? Because going from 1.5 to 2 on $500,000 means a lot more in sales. So we started doing a lot of research and training to see how we could get our website to convert better at a higher percentage. The book that changed it for us all was Don't Make Me Think, a common sense approach to web usability. And the author is Steve Krug, K-R-U-G. Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. Now, I read that a long time ago, and I think they've even coming out with an updated version, but it's basically talks about usability, user experience. Don't make the user think. Give it to them right away. Make sure that they always have your contact information at their fingertips, or a way to fill out a form at their fingertips. So we've read the book, and it was what the book was able to do is take a lot of in-person experiences, for example, visiting a grocery store and how a grocery store is laid out, and convert those ideas onto the web. Very interesting stuff. We removed a lot of clutter, and we shortened up the amount of offers that we were giving. We also included insoles at the point of purchase, and soon 1 out of every 3 purchases were also adding an insole or adding a pair of socks. Again, just like at the grocery store, when you walk up to the counter, there's always little treats and snacks and drinks and little add-ons. So that was one lesson that we certainly picked up from the book that made a big difference. So we want to talk about getting your website ready to be a sales funnel, getting it ready to convert. The first thing you need is to make sure that your phone number is big and in the top right-hand corner of every page. Not a lot of cluttered ads, no social media icons. We'll discuss that in a minute. But a very strong call to action with your phone number on the top right-hand corner of every page. The top right-hand corner is known to be the most valuable space for calls to action, the top right-hand corner. That's where you want to make a clear, concise call to action and get your potential web visitor to convert in some way. Hopefully, is to call you. The most powerful conversion in many cases is a phone call, because we know that once you get on the phone with them, you're going to be able to close the sale. You know, they've come to your website for a little bit more information. Now they're on the phone with you. You've got them right where you want them. You know, so the phone call is mostly or the most valuable conversion for most of our clients. But there's other types of calls to actions. Free estimates, call now, view specials, sign up for savings, attend our signature event, create a free account, attend our webinar. There's a lot of ways to create calls to action in order to mine for new sales leads. And of course, as people register and sign up, they're warm leads. You guys have heard of the 5-second rule, you know, when you drop a French fry on the floor, and especially in COVID, I'm sure it's shortened up. But online, it's the 3-second rule. When somebody goes to your website, you've got at the most 3 seconds to capture their attention before they bounce. And bounce is an actual term used when somebody goes to your website and leaves in a short manner. They measure that as a percentage, and that's called your bounce rate. So you want people to be able to ascertain what they need to be achieving, what they're looking for, and that call to action right there within 3 seconds. Most of the time that includes, it has to be above the fold, meaning you can't have things where people have to scroll down to find what you're looking for. The call to action needs to be right there within 3 seconds. And that almost always means above the fold, meaning no scrolling down. You will lose in these 3 seconds if your logo doesn't clearly explain who you are and what you do. If the name of your company does not lend a clue to the services you provide. And if your marketing message is vague and unclear. Again, we want to offer people a minimum amount, the exact information they're looking for with strong calls to action. We don't want to show them everything because then they will have a mind melt. Remember the power of the choice of 3. The rule that a lot of you guys don't know about the power of choice of 3 is that when you add a 4, it completely blows everything, and the consumer starts contemplating too many options, and often you lose. So you want to keep it to 3 or less. 3 or less. You want to keep them on your website. Right now, as I've told you, Facebook is undercutting Google by up to 90%, meaning the cost of somebody going from a boosted ad on Facebook to your website is up to 90% less than it would cost you to pay Google in search for that same click. Right now, we're building and we're spending money on building our email lists, you know. So the last thing we want to do when we get somebody to our website is lead them off of our website. So what I want you to do is, if you have social media icons on the top of your website above the fold, I want you to move those social media icons to the footer, to the bottom of your website. If you have social media icons in the top right-hand corner, please remove them right away, because remember, that's the hottest spot for conversion. We didn't pay all this money to get people here and to have them in our controlled sales funnel for them to click and leave and go to Facebook's ad platform, you know, because that's really what it is, guys. You know, social media, every 5th post, they're giving an ad. You know, we want them on our platform. So if you have social media icons above the fold, or as soon as you open up your screen, it would be wise to push those down to the bottom. There's no expert out there that can tell you that clicks, likes, and hugs ever led to a definite ROI. But we do know if 100 people go to your website, a certain percentage of them will call. Even if it's 1%, that's one phone call. You know, so that's math that we can trust. That's math that we can count on. We want to keep our visitors on our website at all costs. Another very, very, very important aspect of websites, now more than ever, Google is leading our visitors to blog, product, and service pages. Most often, our visitors don't even see our home pages anymore. Google's trying to get their customer, the searcher, to the exact information they're looking for. So they're going to bypass your homepage and get them to that product, service, or that article that you wrote, specifically answering that question that that searcher's looking for. That means more than ever, a contact form on every page is so important. And treating each page as if it's the only page that this person may ever see. Making sure that there's a lot of white space, strong call to action on the top right-hand corner on every page, and a contact form right there above the fold. We want to make it very easy because often people will visit the article, see how nice your website is. They won't even read the whole article. They'll just know that you're the guy they need to talk to or the gal they need to talk to, and they'll fill out the contact form. And hopefully they're going to make that phone call. In a lot of the trade industries that we work with, contractors, plumbers, electricians, doctors, etc., just to let you guys know that we're getting 10 phone calls to every one contact form filled out, meaning if not more, but 10 to 15 phone calls for every one contact form. So it is important to have the contact form up there, but most importantly is to have that phone number on the top right-hand corner of every page, because the phone call most often is why they're reaching out and looking for you. I want to show you guys an example real quick. I'll share my screen of a website for a pool cleaning company that I've done. So this is Stellar Pool Services. 3 seconds. Within 3 seconds, I hope you guys can see that this guy's in business. He's quality. We have that strong call to action on the right-hand corner. Free pool evaluation. Call this phone number now. As corny as it is, we talked about old school cool before, where these old undying techniques like cold calling still yield great results. So don't be afraid to tell them exactly what you want, even if it's call them right now, don't wait. We've got the main call to action right in the middle, a nice bright picture. We're feeding on the pain of the person wanting to spend more time in their pool and not a lot of time maintaining it. And that's the perfect type of client for this company. And then I want to quickly show you, this is the home page. Remember, most people won't see this page, but I want to quickly show you a what you would call a parent page or a blog post or a product and service page, and just show you that, a lot of white space, strong call to action on the top right-hand corner, and of course the contact form on every single page. And just clean design, nothing overstated. It's always good to have your reviews on your website, by the way. Many plugins are out there that offer you to be able to transpose your Google reviews to your WordPress website. So I just wanted to give you guys an example of what I was talking about getting your website ready, making sure that your social media icons are at the bottom, making sure that there's a contact form on every single page. And you'll be able to rely on these math and metrics. If you spend money on a boost, or if you spend money on an ad with Google, then you're going to be able to count what your conversion rate is. Now, the national average conversion rate is 1 to 2%. That's the national average across all websites, about 1 to 2%. But you can get your website much higher than that, 10 to 15% for a lot of our clients. And we have one unicorn, which is a fuel company, that they actually have a 19% conversion rate, meaning for every 100 people that visit their website, they get 19 phone calls. So by using some of these proven methods and keeping it nice and clean and getting the call to action concise and focused, I think that everybody can get their conversion rate a little bit higher. So we talked about the social media icons. Now your website is ready for those conversions. Now it's time to turn on the traffic. Now is the time where you can feel confident boosting those posts back to your website. Remember, keep it short, keep it simple, and focus on the conversion and focus on the conversion rate and those metrics, and you'll have success. Thank you all very much for joining me today. I told you this one's going to be a little short. Any thoughts from the room?
I think you're definitely on point. I mean, that call to action is so important. You know, I actually thought it was a little bit less than 3 seconds before people left their page. It was kind of like, you know, somebody doesn't see what they're looking for. They're automatically gone in, you know, the blink of an eye. But no, I totally agree with you. Nice job. Thank you for sharing that.
And the more people that visit your website, the more data that Google obtains. So Google can track how long between the time you left Google and went to the website and the time that you went back to Google. So they can count those entrances and exits. And if somebody's only spending, 5-10 seconds on these pages, well, Google's thinking that this must not be a good result because people aren't finding what they're looking for. But if you can pay attention to the average time on each page in your Google Analytics, which is free for everybody to use, they'll tell you the average time. And if you can get somebody on that page for 2 or 3 minutes, they're really getting that content. Most importantly, Google sees that they're getting that, and they're going to reward you with better rankings because that's an indicator that people are finding good content, right?
Is that what they classify as bounces if they're going to the site and coming right back to it, or
yeah,
back away?
I don't have the exact number of seconds off the top of my head, but if somebody goes and leaves almost immediately, that's that bounce rate. That's that bounce rate. And we obviously want that to be a low percentage. We want the average time spent on the pages to be higher. And then of course, what we're looking for on our product and service pages is how many entrances, meaning how many people viewed that page before they viewed any other page. And if a lot of our blog posts are coming up, that means we're winning by building our SEO and our traffic. Steve Oliver, are you around?
Yeah. I was getting ready to add something. One of the biggest things that I see the business owners I meet with, they don't know the CPL or CPA, cost per lead or cost per acquisition.
Yeah.
And when you sit down with John or Mackenzie or any of us in here, I mean, those are those questions we're going to ask. Then you're going to, if you don't know that, then you're going to have to trust us to know what we think it is. And that's what we're going to be gauged on. But the cost per lead would be if you're spending $1,000 in marketing, and you get 10 leads, cost per leads, $100, right? And then how many of those do you close? Do you close 1 out of 3? Then your cost per acquisition is $300. And that's what's good to know. And then you need to benchmark that against everybody in your field. And then we talk about conversion rate. I was just speaking with a carpet cleaner. He's spending about $8,000 a month on digital marketing and driving traffic, and he thought his conversion rate was around 8. When we sat down, it's converting at 2. So a difference of conversion rate of 2%, meaning only 2% of the people that are coming to your website out of 1,000 people are converting or revealing themselves. It's not a sale. It's just kind of like a warm lead. So in our business, the number one thing we talk about is reducing the cost per lead, reducing the cost per acquisition, and increasing the conversion rate. That's ultimately what it comes down to in digital marketing, are those 3 things. Everything else is just kind of the strategy and trying to make things work, but that's what it comes down to. So if you need assistance with that math, there's a lot of experts in here, but those are the things that you should definitely know as a business owner.
Of course they're supposed to look good. Of course they're supposed to look professional. But if they're not converting, your website's worthless. And the difference between 2% and 8% is 4 times more leads. But on the other side, it means that he's paying 75% less at 8% than he would be at 2% per lead, meaning that $1,000 is going to go 4 times further and get that many more leads just by having the right things on your website in the right places. Chris Shanahan, you spoke up first, and so I wanted to see what's rough roofers looking like. I know you didn't make the website, but I still wanted to show it's kind of exactly what we were talking about. Big logo on the left, big call to action on the right-hand screen, nice and clean above the fold. It's exactly what we were talking about. Not really muddying the waters. We just want to get them on the phone. 9 times out of 10, there's a branch in this person's roof. They don't want to read this whole webpage. They want to get on the phone with Chris and get the crew out right away. So, you're providing a better user experience by having these things in the places where people really need them. And everybody kind of knows by now that all the address and all the details and all the location and social media stuff, that's usually all in the footer now. So keep it in the footer. Let me stop sharing my screen.
And I guarantee Chris knows those numbers we were just talking about.
Oh, yeah. Chris is also fortunate to have some of the best word of mouth referrals I've ever heard in the history. Because
Yeah, it's bonkers. You guys are fantastic. It is.
Mackenzie is still here.
I am.
What do you think about these simple metrics?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I talk about that call to click action all day long. Customers are going to your website right now just to give you a call to see if they can schedule an appointment, get a free estimate. If they want to deep dive into it, they will, but that number should be right at that top. And yeah, I agree more than ever with Stephen on the conversion rate of all of that. So yeah, you guys, this was great information for everyone.
I wanted to add on to that, Stephen McKenzie, that if you're paying for ads to go to this website and call that phone number, you better be answering the phone number. And if you're not answering the phone number, you better have a call service answering that phone number. Remember, I've told you guys 1.5 million times that Hulk Marketing listens to all the phone calls. So I can see when I have one client who's running his service business off his cell phone and he's not answering 30% of the calls, guess how many messages people are leaving? 0. A client who is has a call service, and out of all the calls, he only has lost 6 calls out of like 100. And the answering service 90% of the time gets the information, gets it to my client, and my client's able to respond. If somebody's not answering the phone, nobody is leaving messages. I just want to hammer that home. So if you're paying money for Facebook boosts or Google ads and you're not answering the phone, just donate the money. Just give us the money, right? We could just
One thing I wanted to mention.
Well, yeah, and there's only so much that a marketing team can do for you. So we can give you that presence online, but it's your job to really, once you start talking to that customer, to get them in and create that lead. Now, there are some things that we do on our end on the targeted ad things of not just running, for example, just a targeted ad on dentists, because so many people are just looking for dentists. You need to get more in depth and say like into braces or something that you know that's going to convert instead of that broad dentist, because people could just be clicking on all of those and it'll take some money out of that conversion.
So your landing pages more than ever need to be focused.
Yeah.
Right? Because somebody looking for a dentist could be shopping, but somebody looking for a toothache needs something done right now. So focus on the pain. The article referring to the toothache and people searching for toothache is going to convert a lot higher than somebody just searching for dentists and people reviewing a whole bunch of homepages.
Yeah.
So be intentional, and be intentional not only with your sales, but with your marketing. Thank you all very much for all of your input today. I really appreciate it. Have a nice day, guys. I'm going to go ahead and release you back to the real world.